Hello, welcome to the video on number operations. This is our third example set C. And of course, we hope you had a chance to watch the lesson video, because in the lesson video we talked about powers and exponents and the value of really, using them. And it was kind of one of these things where it's going to help us work smarter, not harder. So it's going to really save us a lot of time and work. And we also talked about how to use a calculator and some other things. So if you haven't watched that lesson video, you want to go back to it. But let's get into these problems. And the task is we want to write the expression using powers or using power notation. All right, so here we have our first problem, which is 2 times 2 times 2. Now, what's another way of writing that? Well, we can write that as 2 cubed. Okay, remember, the 2 is called the base, and it represents what we're multiplying, okay? And the 3 right up here, that's called the exponent. That indicates how many times we're multiplying whatever we're multiplying, how many times we're doing it. So here we're doing it 1, 2, 3. Okay, so we're taking 2, multiplying it by itself 3 times. So 2 cubed, or 2 to the third power, is the way we would write that. And this is a power. All right, so moving on, you might want to try this problem. Same thing, there's not any trick questions here. It's just basically practice. So we're taking 3 and we're multiplying by itself 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. Okay, so that is 3 to the 5th power. Pretty straightforward stuff. All right, 2 to the 10th power. So now I have a verbal phrase. What does that mean? Well, it's 2 to the 10th power, or simply 2 to the 10th power. Okay? Y times y. Now, once again, we talked about this in a lesson. The concept of powers and exponents and everything else, it's simply not restricted just to numbers. You can use it for anything. Okay, we're going to be doing a lot with variables. So same concept follows here. So y times y is y squared. Okay, we're multiplying y by itself 2 times. Okay, so that's y squared. How about this problem here? What do we have? Okay, we have 3x being multiplied by itself 1, 2, 3, 4 times. So we would write that this way, 3x. Now here, this is a small, what might seem like a small detail, but it's actually pretty important. So we want to say 3x to the 4th power. What I want you to get in the habit of doing is putting parentheses around that variable expression or that term, okay? And then put a little 4 like that. Because here, 3x to the 4th, okay, this is actually not technically correct. Okay, I'm not going to go into it right now. We'll get into that later on. So just know right now, when you have these variable terms, not one variable, when there's more than one variable, especially in a number, get in the habit of putting parentheses around it, just like this. Okay, next problem. So we have xz, that's the way we would say that, being multiplied by itself 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. So in this case, xz to the 5th power, xz to the 5th. That's how we would write that. So we want to go ahead and use those parentheses. And now here, our last problem, we already have parentheses. So we have x plus h times x plus h times x minus h. Now you might say, well, have x plus h times x plus h times x minus h. X minus h is different than the others. It's kind of like that, what was it? I believe it was Sesame Street. Something doesn't look like the one thing, little 4 squares, and kind of have to look and say, well, what doesn't fit in here? Well, something doesn't fit in. Not that there's anything wrong with this. It's just that when we're using powers, remember, we are interested in things that the exact same thing being multiplied by itself. So we can create a power expression right here for these first two, but not for the third one, this g minus h. So the way you would do this is x plus h times x plus h. I can write that this way, x plus h squared, and then I'm just going to go ahead and multiply that by that lonely x minus h. Okay, so that's pretty much it. So if you got to these problems, you understand, even if you didn't quite get it the first time, as long as you're understanding now, that's what counts. Okay? So introduction to powers and exponents. We're going to do a lot of this later, but if you understand this so far, then you're doing great. Okay, we'll see you soon.